Senator Bob Menendez left federal court today a convicted criminal.
I'm deeply disappointed by the jury's decision.
That jury finding him guilty of 16 counts, including bribery, extortion, and acting as a foreign agent.
I have never violated my public oath. I have never been anything but a patriot of my country.
Now, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is joining a group of more than 30 Democrats calling for the senator's resignation. Prosecutors spent 9 weeks proving Menendez accepted thousands of dollars in cash, gold bars, and a new Mercedes in exchange for actions that in part benefited the Egyptian and Qatari governments. All part of what the FBI says was a wide-ranging bribery scheme.
This was politics for profit. His years of selling his office to the highest bidder have finally come to an end.
Prosecutors accused the New Jersey Democrat of using his office and his power as then chair of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to help 2 New Jersey businessmen secure lucrative overseas business deals. They were also found guilty today. A third businessman he helped flipped after pleading guilty to buying Menendez a Mercedes. He testified against the senator during trial. Photos the FBI took inside Menendez's house showed cash stuffed in jackets, shoes, and bags, which last fall Menendez tried to explain.
I have withdrawn thousands of dollars in cash from my personal savings account, which I have kept for emergencies and because of the history of my family facing confiscation in Cuba.
The defense said there were no bribes and that some of that money belonged to his wife, who they said took hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and gold as gifts from friends. She pleaded not guilty, but her trial is delayed due to her breast cancer. After today's verdict, Senator Menendez remained defiant.
I have every faith that the law and the facts did not sustain that decision and that we will be successful upon appeal.
Jonathan, what kind of sentence might he face?
Lester, sentencing is in October, and he could face years in prison for what was a years-long scheme. No word yet on whether he plans to resign and end his re-election bid. Lester?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.